What's going on, guys? It's Steve. So I have proof that my main man, Dwyane Wade, is a top 10 player of all time. Now, I know what you're going to say. Steve, what the hell are you talking about? How is Dwyane Wade a top 10 player of all time? Here is how Dwyane Wade is a top 10 player of all time. In his prime. First of all, people like to say, oh, well, when LeBron came, his numbers went to 20, from 27 points per game to 20 points per game. He sucks. He took a step back. It's called sacrifice. The same thing Chris Bosh did, averaging 24 and 10. If you don't believe me, what happened after LeBron left? Chris Bosh was averaging 21 and 7 doing his thing before the blood clots. Okay, your bama clot. I'm an idiot for that. Anyway. Listen, man. Dwyane Wade, in my God's honest opinion, is a top 10 player of all time. If you look at just purely what he does, in terms of skill and talent, he's a top 10 player of all time. He's one of the best defensive guards of all time. He is, one of the best scoring guards of all time. And to most people, Dwyane Wade is the third best shooting guard of all time. And by the way, I'm going to be reacting to ESPN saying Dwyane Wade is, in fact, the fourth best shooting guard of all time. And I'm going to go off on that video. But Dwyane Wade, in terms of skill and talent, is hands down a top 10 player of all time. Up there with T-Mac, LeBron. I want to say someone else, but I'm not going to because we'll just leave that. We'll leave that for a separate video. With Kobe, with MJ, with Magic, with Bird, with those players, D-Wade is up there. Now let's look at achievements, okay? Let's look at achievements. This dude, people can say, with Michael Jordan, this is something that you can't say for most people. With Michael Jordan, he didn't win without Scottie. Bird, okay, Bird's an exception. Magic didn't win without Kareem. He might have. I'm not sure about that. Okay? Kobe was taught how to win from Shaq and from MJ. And he didn't win at first without Shaq. Or he won at first with Shaq. LeBron didn't win until he played with Wade. Carmelo Anthony didn't win, yeah. So the trend can continue to go on. But the thing that, is different about Dwyane Wade is Dwyane Wade. And people say, oh, Wade had Shaq. But last time I checked, Shaq was pretty much almost out of his prime. He was averaging 20 points per game in the regular season. But in the finals, he averaged 12, 13 points per game, while D-Wade was averaging 35 and 7. 35, something ridiculous numbers. The best finals performance by anyone his age in NBA history. Finals MVP. He carried that team on his back. And then on top of that, he took a step back, and guess what happened? 2 more championships. He's 3 for 2 in the finals. He won without the best player of all time, so you can't say he only won because of him. Okay? So when you bring up those numbers and you realize that D-Wade is, top 10 skilled and all this other stuff, and then you look at his career numbers, this guy, in terms of pure talent, he's top 10. In terms of everything, he's top 10, okay? In my honest opinion. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, Steve, what the hell are you talking about? Dwyane Wade is not top 10. But I would really like to hear what you guys have to say about this, because honestly, I think Dwyane Wade is a top 10 player of all time. I think if you first of all, let's look at his career stats, okay? His career stats are somewhere along the lines of 23 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. That's ridiculous, okay? 80% from the free throw line, 32% from 3. He's not a great shooter, and 49% from the field for his career. Absolute incredible beast. Okay, he's an incredible beast. And the scary part is if Dwyane Wade didn't go to Marquette, if he didn't play in Marquette, he would have joined when he was around 18 years old. That would have given him an extra 4 years in his prime. So let's cut out an extra 4 years in his prime. Let's see his prime averages. His prime career average before LeBron came. This is ridiculous. 26.7 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. 26 points, almost 27 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists before LeBron came. Add another 4 years of that in his prime. Jeez, man. Are you kidding me? His career points per game would be around 25 like Melo's is, if you give him an extra 4 years in his prime, because he came in the league when he was 22 years old. Okay? So that's by itself ridiculous. Okay? This guy, Dwyane Wade, is he's a 12-time All-Star, 3-time league champion, all defense 3 times, all NBA numerous times. You name it, and he did it. Okay, there's nothing you can say about Dwyane Wade to take anything back besides his jump shot. Okay, besides his jump shot. So that is why I think Dwyane Wade is a top 10 player of all time. And I understand you guys like to say, well, Hakeem is in the top 10. You can't have D-Wade. A lot of you guys get mad because I had Dirk in there and I had D-Wade in there instead of instead of Hakeem. Not Kareem. Kareem is definitely in the top 10. Besides Hakeem. That's Olajuwon, Hakeem the Dream. Not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Anyway, the reason is because if you look at the totality of the game, is Dwyane Wade would be able to play in any single era. And he would be able to play in the 80s and 90s, because in the 80s and 90s, he would probably be even better than he is now. Because in the 80s and 90s, they didn't utilize the jump shot. They relied on the inside-out game. And Dwyane Wade has one of the best post moves for a guard in NBA history, up there with Kobe and Jordan. Not as good, but he's up there. Okay, close to them. Okay, so that's by itself ridiculous. Okay, so Dwyane Wade could play in any era. Hakeem, no, because the big man needs to be able to shoot the threes. Now, I'm not saying he can't adapt, but I'm saying purely from how he played in the 80s and 90s, Hakeem would not be able to play in the modern era. He would, but not be as good. Same with Shaq, he wouldn't be as good. Okay, so I know a lot of people are going to get upset, but that is why I have Dwyane Wade in my top 10. I mean, he can literally do everything. Defense, offense, take over. There's never been a player so young that was so clutch. I've never seen a player so young and so clutch ever. Ever. LeBron is up there with what he did with the 25-point performance. But D-Wade did that. He hit a game winner in the playoffs in his, I think, first time in the playoffs, his second season in the NBA. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then you want to also talk about, and he made the playoffs almost every single year. He missed 07, 08. Because of injury. But he made it from 04 all the way to 2016. Same with Melo. Melo made it from 03, 04 all the way to 2013 until Phil Jackson came. But that's another point. So that's why I have Dwyane Wade in my top 10, okay? He can guard the 1 through 5. You don't believe me? Look up Dwyane Wade versus LeBron. D-Wade 6'4", 25 pounds, going up against a 6'8", 250 beast. He even guarded Melo before in the post. That's crazy. So that's why I have Dwyane Wade in my top 10. And if it weren't for injuries, and if he didn't come into the league at the age of 22 and he would have came in 4 years earlier, oh my gosh. This guy would, oh my goodness, man. Imagine what he would have accomplished. So that's why I have Dwyane Wade in my top 10 ever. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. It's Mr. Steve. I'm out. Peace.